Hello Muslim friends of the world. Hui Muslims are one of the Islamic ethnic groups that China is now starting to identify as a threat. Therefore, the Chinese government often issues controversial regulations that conflict with religious freedom. The latest regulation is a prohibition on Muslims from fasting during Ramadan. Reporting from Radio Free Asia, the prohibition on fasting during Ramadan applies to two large Muslim ethnic groups in China, Uyghurs and Hui. Different from the Uyghur ethnic group, which is often discriminated against by the Beijing government, Hui Muslims are an ethnic group that has always been close to and received protection from indigenous Chinese tribes. Unfortunately, this protection does not apply to the rules prohibiting fasting this Ramadan. The Beijing government has considered ethnic Muslims in China as a threat that must be resolved through forced assimilation, so that all Islamic culture in China will be abolished and the entire population will only adhere to the culture determined by the government. This rule is almost the same as that which North Korea has long applied. Condition of Hui Muslims in China. Different from Uyghurs who only live in Xinjiang, Hui Muslims are not limited by region. They live in various corners of Chinese cities and mingle with the native population. The Hui Muslim group can be said to be unique because they represent the only one of China's 56 officially designated national groups whose religion is a unifying identity. Hui Muslims also speak Mandarin and consider it their mother tongue. Apart from that, they have also begun to assimilate with the Han tribe, original Chinese tribe. Their mosques, a harmonious blend of traditional Chinese dynastic architecture with Islamic motifs, are the perfect manifestation of Hui Muslim assimilation. This ethnic mingling is what makes it different from the more closed Uyghurs. This is what makes Uyghurs identified as terrorists and shunned by indigenous Chinese. Even though they have integrated and gained the trust of the surrounding public, this does not necessarily mean that the Hui Muslims have a smooth path to continuing to practice their teachings and beliefs. Hui Muslims often receive discriminatory treatment, especially regarding regulations regarding religious matters from the Beijing government. For example, the rules for fasting in the month of Ramadan above. Apparently, this is not the first time that regulations relating to religious freedom have been implemented. Reporting from the Eurasian Times, in 2018, China implemented an anti-Islam movement which prevented Hui Muslims from praying in mosques on Fridays. The aim of enforcing this regulation at that time was to curb the growth of Islamization and Arabization. A year later, ethnic Hui Muslims began to fear that they would be treated like Uyghurs. Even though it is a minority, Islam is growing rapidly in China. Pew Research Center data notes that Muslims in China reached 21.6 million people. However, this number is not much compared to China's total population. The percentage of Muslims in the Bamboo Curtain country is only around 1.6% of the total population in China. And most Muslims in China are dominated by the Hui tribe, which is one of the largest tribes in China. The term Hui comes from Hui, which is intended for the Uyghur people. They appeared around the 10th century during the reign of the Song dynasty. Currently, they are mostly concentrated in Xinjiang. However, other sources say that the term Hui originated in the Ming dynasty era. At that time, Islam was known as Tianfang Jiao, which means the religion of the Arabs. Islam is also called Hui Jiao, namely the religion of the Hui people. From this history, Chinese Muslims of any ethnicity are referred to as Hui people. Hui people can be found in most urban districts throughout China, especially in the Ningxia Hui Autonomous Region, Gansu, Qinghai, Hunan, Hebei, Shandong, Yunnan Province, and the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. As a native Muslim community in China, Islamic values are deeply rooted in the lives of the Hui people. This also includes their culinary traditions. In general, Hui cuisine has many similarities to other northern Chinese dishes. However, there is quite a significant influence of Central Asian civilization in their various typical dishes. Dishes made from mutton, lamb, or beef are very popular among the Hui people. Apart from that, animal fat is also often used in various dishes. Several types of poultry, such as chickens, ducks, and geese, are also a source of food for the Hui people. However, they rarely consume cheese or other forms of dairy. The Hui people strictly abstain from consuming all food products that contain pork or other ingredients that are prohibited by Islamic teachings. Thousands of residents of the Hui Muslim ethnic minority have clashed with Chinese authorities, who are planning to destroy their domes and mosques. Hui ethnic residents surrounded and stood guard because they were afraid that their mosque would be forcibly destroyed by government troops. After arriving at the mosque, we realized that they, Chinese authorities, had brought a crane into the compound and were ready for forced demolition, the source said. This is not the first time that Hui Muslims, who are trying to protect the mosque, have run into tensions with the authorities. In 2018, thousands of Hui residents in Ningxia staged a 3-day sit-in to prevent authorities from demolishing a newly built mosque. The local government postponed the demolition, but later replaced the mosque's dome and minaret with a traditional Chinese-style pagoda. In contrast to the Uyghur Muslim ethnic minority in Xinjiang, the Hui Muslim ethnic group actually still receives preferential treatment from the Chinese government. Reporting from The Diplomat, Uyghurs and Hui are the two main Muslim ethnic groups in China. Even though they both follow Islam, their images in Chinese society are very different. Ethnic Uyghurs, who speak Turkish with an Arabic script, have a different appearance from China's Han majority. The Uyghur population of around 8 million lives mostly in the Uyghur Autonomous Region of Xinjiang. Meanwhile, the Hui ethnic group, which is estimated to consist of 11 million people, is spread throughout China. But most of them are concentrated in the Ningxia Autonomous Region. In terms of skin color, the Hui are slightly different from the Han ethnic group. For most Hui people, Mandarin is their mother tongue. They also have almost the same food preferences as the Han ethnic group, even though they don't eat pork or drink alcohol. But the most striking difference between Uyghurs and Hui is their position in the eyes of the Chinese government.